Hi, I'm Alison from Alison's Astrology. And first of all, I just wish those of you who celebrate Easter, happy Easter. And welcome to Alison's Astrology. And I'm super excited to have 100 subscribers, actually excited and delighted and slightly unbelieving. But thanks for your support, really appreciate it. So this week we're beginning with the Sun newly into Taurus, Mars just into Leo. So there's been a big shift from cardinal to fixed energy, from Aries and Cancer to Taurus and Leo. And I don't know about you, but I found that here emotions have definitely been running high around a lot of my friends and stuff. So maybe some of you did experience that kind of focused anxiety or even anger yesterday, which may well have been directed at a situation rather than a person. Um, or it could have kind of manifested differently, actually, and you were challenged kind of to express yourself, and it just was actually a really nice day. So can work in different ways depending how it falls on your chart. But I think it was full and emotional. And I hope this cleared somewhat by the evening when the sun actually made that shift into Taurus, because often it's just in those last degrees of the sign that it gets really tense, a planet gets really tense. So let's have a look at the chart. Yep, here it is. I need to share the screen, nearly forgot again. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, so let's just have a quick look at the chart. And here it is for this morning as we're talking. So we've got the moon in Capricorn. So that's kind of quite strategic, thinking, quite ambitious, earth sign. And here we've got the sun just into Taurus, making that red line square there to Mars in Leo. And that's going to perfect today. So it's across from Pluto over here. So there's that T square that is creating the tension. And then behind that, just to point it out, Venus is here in Pisces, and she's at 2538 Pisces. So she's actually making this lovely sextile here to Uranus in Taurus. So that's about creative solutions. It's about finding ways forward, really. So, and as Venus is ruling that sun, I do feel that that's a really positive kind of aspect that you can work with, but always bounded by the material reality of this Saturn. Yeah, so with the shift from cardinal energy to fixed energy, we're talking much more about the idea of consolidation now and standing our ground. And in a sense, we might have seen Pluto coming into Aquarius in this way. So if you think back, while Pluto was in Capricorn, the plutocrats like Musk and Bezos and those people were busy building their empires. And this was active, sort of ambitious energy, all out assertiveness within those material structures that Capricorn loves. But now Pluto has moved into Aquarius, this symbolism of social transformation. And there's a sense in which they're attempting to translate that money into actual power, I think, in society and to change society in profound ways. But it's not hopefully going to be that easy for them. There's going to be a kind of, comeback from Aquarius as well, from the people. Anyway, I want to stay out of politics. So let's just look on a personal level. Mars in Leo represents our drive to express ourselves creatively. And Mars in Leo wants appreciation and recognition too. But it's honest, loyal, generous, warm-hearted. It wants to be seen. And the sun now entering Taurus and creating that T-square with this Mars is kind of challenging that, is your solar energy really, really up for that creative expression? Who you are as a person, as the sun in Taurus, can you express yourself like that? And of course, with Pluto and Aquarius as well, this could present us with social problems. Issues of finance might be coming into focus here. Something to do with our physical well-being. That's always quite Taurian. And we can't be as easily the creative people that we want to be. And this is going to be especially true for anyone who's got planets or angles around the 0 degrees of those fixed signs of Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And this configuration with the Sun in Taurus and the T-square, the opposition of Mars and Pluto, it could suggest actually that our material security or our physical body is being challenged by something. So we're not able to do what we want to do in order to express ourselves creatively. Maybe I just said that, but it's worth emphasizing. And the social setups could also be an issue. It could also be a personal transformation. I do want to say that actually, that we're struggling with here. And it's something that we had envisaged, but it's proving perhaps more difficult to manifest than we ever thought possible. So the Taurus sun is ruled by Venus, as I mentioned, and Venus is strong, direct, and sensitive in Pisces. So she's still thinking about her dreams, but making that positive aspect to Uranus. And Uranus is always about the surprising or the unusual. And I have also noticed that Uranus in Taurus can be about scientific solutions to physical problems as well. So in terms of scientific advances. So that's interesting. And that can also apply on a personal level. But Venus, of course, is near Saturn, and so she's going to be subject to the rules and limitations of the material world. And I don't know about you, but it does feel a little bit like with these kind of shifts from the old world of Pisces to the new world of Aries, and this Mars-Pluto opposition, this T-square coming in, that a bit of brute realism has somehow entered our existence after we've all been pottering about in this kind of Pisces cloud for a while. And how that falls for you and how strongly that impacts you will depend on where those early degrees of Leo, Taurus, and Aquarius fall in your chart. And the end of Pisces too. So as I said, that Sun Mars square is exact in the early hours of the Monday morning on the 21st. So we'll be feeling the pressure to make something happen and to be creative, building up through Saturday and Sunday. And at the same time, there'll be this push to create security around our finances, around our values, around our physical being as well. So if you're not in Europe, actually, we'll be asleep in the early hours of Monday morning, hopefully, then this pressure, and it does feel like pressure, will be compounded by the moon joining the T-square too. So again, more emotional stuff. And I will just actually show you that on the chart, if I can, just a second. There we are. Okay, so yeah, so we're just moving forward, and there it is, and the moon has come through to join Pluto there in Aquarius as well, and kind of put its emotional weight, its instinctive weight behind that. Okay, so that may have felt like something was ready to explode. Hopefully nothing exploded too much, and we're moving past it. And then by Wednesday, the 23rd in the afternoon, the sun is leaving that square with Mars and perfecting the square to Pluto. So she's moving from one to the other in a sense. So now it's the challenge of transformation. Can we change? First of all, the challenge of can we express ourselves? And then the challenge of can we change? Because we may have discovered that in order to do that self-expression, we're going to have to change, transform. And again, Sun in Taurus, it's going to be to do with security, finances, the planet, or the physical body. And our values, of course, they may need to shift a bit too. And at the same time, Venus, this Taurus ruler, reaches the North Node in Pisces. So the nodes are a kind of meeting with destiny there. And again, that may have to do with our sense of self-worth. Venus is always about relationships too, so they might be in the spotlight. Our values and our dreams. We're in Pisces, of course. Something's ending here and is moving to a new phase. And with Venus too, it might be about the power of the feminine in our lives. Saturn is part of this tight conjunction still, bringing home issues of material reality and how this is going to impact what we love and value and desire. So Saturn with Venus is always about these questions of self-worth, and it's important to hold on to the solid, unshakable solar energy in Taurus, which tells us that we're fine and we need to live in the present. That is the key to, I think, surviving this and taking everything one step at a time, living in the present, appreciating all the Taurus things about the spring in the Northern Hemisphere that's around us, and just enjoying the minutes, if you like, of our daily lives. That's very Taurian. And also to remember that Venus is strong in Pisces. So Saturn and Venus are going to be especially impactful for anyone who's got planets or angles around 26 of the mutable signs of Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. But then Venus perfects that conjunction with Saturn on Thursday the 24th at 27 Pisces and moves on. So again, cycles, everything is shifting. And she begins to feel better about herself again. And the Mars-Pluto opposition, this final Mars-Pluto opposition, the last in this series of 3 that began last November. It perfects at 3 degrees 48 minutes Leo Aquarius in the early hours of Sunday morning on the 27th of April. And this definitely has the sense of an ending, of something in that story that began 3 or 4 months ago. No, maybe a bit longer than that, actually, 6 months ago, something like that. And it's a kind of a watershed, if you like. And you come to a point where you understand that you might not have everything that you want from this. But you need to take stock of the situation and come to a decision. And I think that's maybe where we are at this point, especially as this opposition is followed just hours later by a new moon at 7 degrees 46 Taurus, so 8 degrees of Taurus. And it's still at the apex of the T-square, if you like, with Mars and Pluto, which makes it a bit complicated. But I do feel quite strongly that when planets have moved on from something, and that Mars, that Sun and Moon, the new moon is outside of the T-square now. It's moved on from that. So I'm going to just move this chart forward to show you that. There it is. Oops. Yeah, let's just go back. So the moon about to make that full moon, that new moon there, sorry, and it's moved beyond the T-square. That's perfecting, but it's moved beyond. So in a sense, we're making a decision, or we're making a new start, taking into account of the conclusions and the realizations that we came to with that Mars-Pluto opposition, the Sun, Mars, Pluto, T-square, and the Venus-Saturn. And this is very much how I see it. And this new moon is still ruled by Venus, but she's stronger now. She's got past Saturn. And so I do feel it's a new start in the realms that are symbolized by Taurus. So land, bodies, finance, values, and just the day-to-day living on this planet. And of course, as always, and especially because she's coming out of this strong configuration, tense configuration, there will be something to leave behind. And that's just how life is. So that's it for this week. And let me just stop the share now. That's probably a good plan. I would like to stop the share. How do I do that? I can't work out how to do it, honestly, sometimes. Sometimes I despair of myself. Stop share. Okay. And here I am again. And next week, oh gosh, sorry. I'm completely lost now. Okay. I've no idea what you can see. Okay, let's share that again, and then we'll just stop the share. Oh, we did it. Okay, well done, achieved. Honestly. Right, okay. So thanks for joining me, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. 101 subscribers would be fantastic. And check out my other videos in the notes below. Next week, we have Venus entering Aries and a burst of witchy Beltane energy. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye. If I can work out how to stop it. Thanks.